You gotta prepare. You gotta prepare for war this year, 2021. God told me every time that I see now, I start to understand that every time, according to how I was doing my day to day, I would receive a message from God with this gift that He gave to me to be a messenger like other people, other prophets. But I would misuse this. I would misuse it because I would be sometimes corrupt and trying to have money for myself and build something that would not be the will of God. And for example, in 2018, I was trying to do some music, electronic, some music in my with my laptop in my house, and I stopped that. But at that time, I received a dream that I was picking up. There was one blank card and another one, and the third one, some gold wood and letters was writing, so it was pretty. I picked it up from the ground, and it said Clinton 2021. You've seen the 1400 years after the New Age, and I knew in spirit that this was an invitation for the nuclear war, the shelter. They call it Fallout Shelter. So I researched 621 was the birth of Islam. I published this a year after in 2019 and on YouTube. And what I want to tell is that as an artist, I received this invitation. We've seen that Clinton won, the Democrats won since then this year, right? Last year, Trump was not re-elected, so Clinton won 2021. This is this year, and 1600 years in 621 was the birth of Islam. So all these new religion since Jesus was known as a great religion, a great belief, the true one, and those detractors from all around the world came to this point today to weaken mankind. So after this, I had other ups and downs in my life. Like they say, I wanted to do other things, and still the message would operate in the future. But if my heart was corrupt, this message will be a bit more darkened, so much that only when it would happen, you would know that those were prophecies with that spirit. If, example, more recently I wanted to do with future commodities, then I would receive that something, the, the some price, and I would receive some things like this, always according to that. And just like a couple of days ago, I'm like, wait a minute, I stopped publishing 6, 7 months. I was upset. You prove online that, for example, the future, even 2 days prior, Kamala Harris was elected. I said I saw before 2 days before the debate, an elephant blowing up and yelling at somebody on the right. She yelled at Joe Biden, and I said she will be in the middle, yell, and I saw an elephant. I said I think it's Kamala Harris, and that broke the news the most. She yelled at Joe Biden, and I said I saw two horns, and so this was before even the election and the merge of Kamala Harris with Joe Biden. Somebody wrote online, "Oh, golden knees for Kamala Harris," and that was true because God sees what is happening. It's like by the time you take a picture, it does happen, but God knows. God knows everything. Don't try to be like God. You should listen to God. Is like this. Heal with the power of God. Don't go and imitate God. This is very bad. I mean, imitate God with His attribute. Not they do all kinds of stuff with the body. They trying to be God without Him, and that doesn't fit. That doesn't work. It's the way of the devil. The devil trying to copycat. You have to imitate, not to copy. Because other people they copy, they say it's mine. That's not good. And and I've seen in the studies with what's going on in the technology today that it is very a dark, very dark. That is for the future of mankind. And to the point of fact, there was a man here. His name was let me see it in BC. It's in the news as of today and yesterday, Friday 19. A Canadian father, I am Canadian, is arrested after calling his transgender female child daughter. And in June last year, I published that I was singing a song going up and right in the hallway, and I went across many provinces, and I was almost a year just prior to that June, which I was in Toronto, but I was in Vancouver for almost a year just prior. My mom almost died, so I came. So it's not important my private life, but I did. And in this dream, I sing "When Woman Will Be Like Man," almost after Elvis Presley song, 3 times. And then I was taken up in the air, and I was shown an explosion, big explosion. I said, "Hey, I lived there." You see, by the spirit, if I wanted to joke and sarcasm, it will affect me like this. If I wanted to hide something, the gift is hidden a bit. So all this I didn't know. I learned. I tested the spirit, and to the point of fact that I was almost getting to my goals, and I forgot that many times I turn around in my life and go back to God, and then you have to restart, but in poverty. So you have to keep in God, but you have to build in God. Many works today are bad. Look, there's tons of massage parlor. God told me it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. This gift in massage parlor. He told me in Atlanta. And you've seen the shootouts. You know, he told me here in the dream, lots of fire hands, and it was in Atlanta. He told me months prior with the massage parlor, the NBA final, which was last year, and sometimes it reproduces as close as it is with more details, but what I'm saying that now a lot of reproduction are coming to the end as of the 2021 was the main theme here. Having a lots of battles like me in my life, a lot of things. So I want people who have even not followed me or by chance um, stumble upon this video that I'm telling you today. I want you to prepare. If you still have time here, 2021, I want you to prepare for war. Prepare yourself. Gather some food for yourself, for your family. Last year, God told me 2 a week in cans. If I do the math, it will be. I already did a video that I was talking about this, but it will be gather as much as you can. I mean, as much as you can. Think about the others. Look at this man. This man is. Whew. God told me, and I published last year one of my first video that it was a letter. I was trying to listen to God. They call it locution. And God said that He didn't want war. I won't use the same words that He is. I didn't listen back to this, but He said, war is necessary. I don't want war, but it's necessary. And He was saying, well, crying. He said, to uproot the evil that cannot be uprooted. So, for example, I start to realize this today. This man, transgender, he cannot even express. They arrested him because he only expressed what his heart was telling him, which is not a crime. You in a free world can say the prime minister is a piece of shit, and you will not, excuse my language, and you will not be arrested in a free world. Why? Well, they say, well, we have so much enough money, we're protected, nobody's gonna attack us. They cannot do a revolution here or so, and there's no threat for us. Let them speak. It's part of our values. Okay, that's good. But I mean, despite me using a bad language and nobody tell me you shouldn't talk like this, I wanted to give an example. But this man cannot even express himself in the west of Canada, where we all know that even Apophis 2021, Apophis 2029, it's gonna plunge in the Pacific Ocean, but that's another story. War's gonna happen before, and now the wrath of God is full. You cannot uproot the evil. Look at this man. He was betrayed by a psychologist. I won't say betrayed, but a psychologist who had prejudiced, who was possibly even married, even I think Asian with the name, that some people even with all those massage parlor, all those spies in it, trying to hurt in this country. And then back then in the East, they say, well, look at this. This man is, they take his child transgender and he cannot even express. And now they're not Christians. They're not God. It's evil. And they're right. It's evil. But people here that are in power and don't talk, and Christians in faith, they're not real Christians. Jews that are in power that let this happen, they're not really Jews. Those Protestants that do this and Methodists, they are not Christian. They're schismatic. They're using the word, the name of Jesus in vain, and for their own profits and for their own glory here on earth. That is really not one. Look at this man. This man, poorest man. I look at his picture right now, and he's lost. He cannot even express himself. He cannot say his daughter. In other words, if you wouldn't talk, how much this guy would fall in psychology? Like, at least can you let him talk? Expression? I have listened 2 minutes of his interview, and he said that he was in school and the psychologist was a pro-transgender and said, well, you know what? Your problem that brought you up to here because you have crushes on the older men teachers. That's how it started. The problems with that woman, his daughter, and they say the psychologists say, well, you're a candidate for transgender in front of the father, in front of the authority. So as a child, me when I grew up, and I used to fight, and sometimes I was alone or not, but I, I, I didn't like the corruption and the fitting, even in high school. Even the this gang there, this gang there, there was this acceptance that was corrupt. So I always felt that it shouldn't be like this. I couldn't give myself 100%. And what I'm talking is about if you go and tell a child, listen, all your problem that you had here, like they told this child in front of the father figure, the solution is you're transgender. And then this child sees all the other children that have laughed at me, that I had the crush with older people, all this stuff, and I'm gonna come back to this. It's gonna end, and they're not gonna be able to laugh at me because now they protect transgender even in school. That's the solution for all your nightmare that even kids were laughing at you. It's gonna end up. This is the solution. Brainwash that child, the father. That's not the solution. Sometimes even a person can grow up. You know what's the solution for that child? Maybe that child was more a woman than other ones. What I mean is that when you look 1,000 years ago, they were married younger with younger people. They were starting a simple life. They were working the farms. They were having children. You know, their men, they have seed at 12 years old, the woman. And I'm not saying I'm not pro pedophile here. I heard some countries they marry children, oh, so young. But what I'm saying here is that even the Virgin Mary, 13 years old, they were married, but maybe that child was more a woman earlier. Maybe all this school by the devil until you're 18 obligation and all this, that was not for her. Maybe this father was more strong and she saw this around her and said, well, I like being strong. Maybe for me it's something else. And school says no. So now they have to slow down and change even the sex for another 2, 3, 4 years until she's 18. To that child, I would say, you know what? It's the society and it's the devil that is here, not your father. There's nothing wrong with you. By the way, sometimes, because even people are a sickness in the eye and a weak eye or anything, they're slow bloomers. They need their apartment, they need their rooms out of the family. They need a man to grow. Maybe you were ready to grow. In these cases, what you can do is maybe having a boyfriend, and that's even bad because you have to marry with children in the church, in the eyes of God. So the government here right now, the society, how it's built, and I'm not pointing fingers at government because the devil is always behind. It's a spiritual battle upper than this. And why the government follows this? Well, it's money. They follow money. Money goes this way, God goes this way. God gives life, and the devil gives money, corruption. And at one time, the difference will be so much that it's gonna end. So even sometimes when you say, "Oh, the priests are so corrupt and so this," it's all our fault. And maybe if they were the other side, maybe even the difference will be bigger. No, I think they were just actually, if they're not corrupt, people will go more close because God, when He do something, it's healing.